grow and enhance your grow with Matt Kush. Feel the power from the leaves and the lush. Every harvest brings a different kind of rush. Let it grow and enhance your grow with Matt Kush.
Hello everybody and welcome back to the channel. Glad having you here today for another episode of the strain growing journey. YouTube, this video is for documentary and educational purposes only and follows the YouTube community guidelines. But now let's get started and dial into this grow. Today's episode features Merengon, which is a plant from black tuna seeds. You're gonna see the complete story from the early beginning till the end. In today's episode we will also talk about the circumstances I had when I was growing the plant. We will also talk about the values and parameter I had to dial in to overcome limitations and problems. And also very important, the right light adjustment at the right time. And some considerations about when and how to water and give food like nutrients to the plants. By the way guys, you might have realized my stuffy nose. I'm very sorry, but I caught a cold and I'm still dealing with it. Hope to recover very soon. But as long as it is like it is, I have to accept and I need to keep moving, pulling out the videos to deliver you every Sunday like you are used to. Let's dive into the grow now. Here you can see our greenhouse. It's having the dome on. Now we check on the seeds which I put in the ground 3 days ago. But so far we don't see anything. Our Merengon is not there and none of the other plants is coming up. So we got to wait. This will take approximately maybe another 2-3 days. Who knows? Because here in the grow space it's not too warm. I have this heat map underneath, but it only works partly in the daytime. In the nighttime I got some temperature drops which also will affect somehow my seedlings. And that's why everything is happening a little bit slower than normal. For now we don't have to do anything, there is still enough moisture in the medium and then everything will be cool. I was making a mistake actually. We had 2 days before and now we are on the 3rd day after germination, so between the 2nd and the 3rd day of germination a lot happened. All the plants popped up, well, most of them, 5 of 6, which is not too bad, and I think the other one will come later. Our Merengon is looking good, she don't show any problems, and in this early stage it's also difficult to identify if there will be a problem, but so far all looks good. I have the light on the right high and I also dialed in the right amount of light they should get, which is around 200 micromole, and I suggest you to invest in a par meter. It will help you to dial in the right light intensity your plant should get. It's around 80 to 100 bucks for a cheap one, normal one, which is doing the job pretty much okay. For sure, if you spend more, you get more, the readings will become better and more accurate, but that's not so much important for what we needed. For that, it's all okay spending around 100 bucks to get a device which can help you to not make mistakes. As we are in the early stage of our grow and the plants cannot accept too much light intensity, so we will dial in 200 to 300 micromole. That's what they can easily accept, and later in their grow, when they become more and more mature, when they grow and become more and more adult, we can also increase the light intensity always towards their needs in the dedicated period of grow. After everything is dialed in, we just have to wait and feed the plants without any fertilizer at the moment, just with pure water, cause the soil we are using is already having amendments inside, so there is no need to add on at the moment. This could harm our little fragile plants. The Merengon here is looking fantastic. Somehow even cute, but that's not what we want. We want monsters, but this is coming later. I hope it's coming later. But give her some time and let's check on her in around 5 to 6 days and then we will know more. There is a significant improvement. First thing I see, we need water, or they need water, and I need to feed. This is what I have to do, feed them, but they are looking actually okay. No deficiency to recognize, developing good. The humidifier, which is also set on 75%, is also doing a great job. This will be reduced over time when the plants get bigger. The relative humidity will set down step by step, and when we go towards flower, we will bring it down to 40%, 30% even. Let's say we dial it in between 30 to 40% to not bump into moisture problems, which could cause us later on mold. The plants get now transplanted. They are in the right age to receive the transplant, as we used mycorrhiza as well trichoderma to enhance the root development, especially to adopt the plant to the new medium much faster and better than without using these little helpers. Another week later, the plants recovered from the transplant, and they show that the new medium is giving them what they need: space to grow. In our case, their new home is a 15-liter pot with a tray, and as soon the plant get bigger, we will also use some metal anchors to hold the branches down, relocate them, and create the first solid foundation for the later growth. I forgot to mention, when you do the transplant, please don't do the same mistake I did at the beginning. I didn't use enough water for the soil. I put my plant into the new medium. I added some water, but I added maybe 250 milliliter or maybe 300 or 400, but when you have a 15-liter pot, this is nothing, guys. You should at least add 1.5 to 2.5 liters into that pot. Let's name it 2 liters, you won't go wrong with it, and that will give also the starting of the plant in the new medium better chances, as there is enough water that the plant's root will reach out to the lower located water sources or reservoirs inside the new soil. Please don't get me wrong, also don't overwater the plant. If you have water standing in the tray underneath, you should not water more, you should get this drain out. When it stands there longer than a few hours, you know you watered too much. If it's getting soaken by the medium, all good, but if it stands there for a day, you should definitely remove it, because otherwise you risk that your plant gets root rot. The roots also need air, they also need to breathe, and if they cannot do that anymore, they start rotting. So that's why you should always take care of your drain, that you don't have too long time water standing in your tray. Another 3 days later, the plants look like that. I relocated the Merengon to the backside of the tent and placed the other one in the front. And now it's also time that we have to do the topping of our plants. I will apply topping only one time on each plant. Later we will also do low stress training to create an even canopy for the later developing flowers, so we can ensure that all of them receive the maximum light intensity and will not have problems by getting blocked off other branches above or next to them, or fan leaves which we have to remove later. Another 5 days later, the plants picked up again, but what I can clearly see, they need a defoliation now. You might have realized that the plants are not stretching too much. Unfortunately, I don't think there will be more stretch coming. That will be a very tiny plant, a very compact one. That's why it's even more important to do the low stress training and try to create that even canopy, because the plants will become very bushy, because everything happens on a very small scale of space when they don't grow bigger. And I have fears they won't grow bigger because of my nighttime temperatures, which are dropping to 13 to 14 degrees. For some, the plants looked treated very cruel at the moment, but don't worry, they will recover without any problem. They will benefit from the treatment. Later, you're gonna see that next. 6 days later, and the plants look like that. They recovered completely from the technique we applied, which was low stress training and topping. You cannot see any problems anymore. It's the opposite. They are developing very well, except for their size, because they are quite tiny. But let's dial in now the new parameters for our lighting fixture, that we get the right amount of micromole to the plants, what they need in their current period. It's also time that we consider to change our fertilization. As we had before used only the grow solutions, we will also add in now something to stimulate the flowers, and later on in late flower or mid flower we will also add in some boosters for the flower. Well, a bud booster is not a magic product, and it doesn't change the genetic of a plant. What it does is far more subtle and far more effective. It pushes the plant to fully commit to flower development exactly at the same time when the buds are already formed and ready to pick up or bulk up. By the time the bud booster is applied, the plant is usually past the stretch phase. The basic structure of the flower is already there, but at that point the plant's main task is no longer growing taller or producing new leaves, just filling and hardening and ripening the buds. This is where the bud booster comes in and will also take its place into a really beneficial improvement of what can happen to your buds. Phosphorus supports energy transfer and cell division, while potassium regulates water balance and sugar will be transported better. Together they all allow the calyxes, the build blocks of the buds, to expand more efficiently. The result is buds that become denser and heavier rather than longer and leavier. At the same time, the bud booster helps redirect the plant's internal energy flow. Instead of wasting resources on unnecessary leaf growth, the plant prioritizes flower tissues. Sugar produced during photosynthesis are transported more directly into the buds, where they are converted into structural mass, resin and aromatic compounds. In simple terms, the plant stops breeding its efforts and starts concentrating it. One of the most noticeable effects is increased resin production. The improved sugar transport and metabolic efficiency give the plant more raw material to produce compounds. Compounds are not just responsible for potency, but also for aroma, flavor and overall visual appearance. Biologically speaking, a bud booster doesn't force anything unnatural. It amplifies processes that are already happening during flowering, but are often limited to nutrient availability or metabolic bottlenecks. Think of it as removing restrictions rather than adding pressure. When used correctly, the plant enters a kind of final push mode, focusing entirely on finishing strong. Timing is definitely a point you have to keep an eye on. Applied too early, the bud booster can cause stress or interference with the stretch phase. Applied too late, the plant simply doesn't have enough time to convert the added resources into mass or resin. The sweet spot is usually mid-flower, when buds are clearly formed but still actively developing. In the end, a bud booster doesn't create something new, it allows the plant to fully express what it already genetically is possible of doing. While I was explaining the bud booster, you probably have realized that our plants are at the right moment to get the bud booster, so we will feed them now with our already approved fertilization mix. That's what I always or very often apply. I'm also experimenting with other mixes, but my basic mix, which had been approved to be working well, is the ones I'm mixing right now. I indicated the level of fertilizer I'm adding in on the left top side So if you wanna follow this fertilization, just take a look at that and try it out by yourself. Maybe it's also something for you, maybe not. Please let me know in a comment if this is helping you or if you don't need this kind of informations. After all the components are added in, we will balance the pH on 6.5. That's the best that the plant can uptake the nutrients very fast. By the way, my fears from the early moment on unfortunately became true. The plants stuck in development in terms of size. They stay very, very compact and tiny. And that means that everything is happening on such a small space that we have also to deal with higher humidity levels in between the branches and buds, because they are so closely located to each other that it's easy mold can rise if we don't take care. That's why we have two fans inside, one on the ground, which I will also have on level 2 now, and another one which is oscillating over the flowers and also a bit into the flowers. Normally I keep it over the flowers to not dry out the buds, but in that case, as everything is so compact, I have to find a way pretending the rot, so I will bring it a bit down and also blow directly on the buds, but in oscillation mode. Now in week 7 of flower, the buds packed up again, so the bud booster is showing effect. It's for us also time now that we consider the next step, which is to bring the plants down, because very soon they are ready. The next thing we got to do is we have to check the glandulars, so we take our magnification glass and check on them, and if they show that they are ripened enough, which is in my case normally 70%, 80% milky or cloudy and 15-20% amber. As this plant will be cured and dried, this is for me the right mix, how they should look. And if I'm not using that for drying and curing and using it later the normal way we do, if I'm using it for extracts, I have a different judging. I will start to check much earlier on the glandulars, and as soon as I have seen inside that the compound is milky and some of it is still transparent, I will do the harvest, because this will later give me a better color for the result of the end product. And like usual, it's not always about intensity and potency, it's sometimes also about just flavor. After a carefully inspection of our Merengon, I decided it's time to bring her down. But before I gonna do that, I will let you guys have a last look on it, and I will place it for you on the turntable. Here we are. And here we are back to do the final cut. I was checking again and the smell is fantastic. It really smells incredible. Now we have to find a way how to cut the branches, because they are very, very packed and compact. That also means we have to remove the fan leaves. I cannot even say it's fan leaves, I have to say it's some leaves, because real fan leaves are not there. But they are also not sugar leaves, so I can remove them. And as of the density of the buds, it's better to remove more, because that will help them later in the drying process, because these leaves can create more moist, which can probably lead to mold, what we don't want. But already I discovered that some of the lower located buds are not completely ripened. That's why I decided to do only a part harvest. I'm sure if I keep the rest of the plant growing for another 2 weeks, also the not fully ripened ones will ripen up and I can harvest them just 2 weeks later. But this is not a big deal for me. I think it's the best way I can preserve also the compounds and create the best out of it. After we have snapped all the leaves and branches off, we will hang each single branch on a rope line. Then we will install a ventilator in the room which is blowing towards the wall, and also a humidifier which is set on 55% and a dehumidifier which is set on 60%. So we can ensure that our relative humidity range which we need for the dry is between 55 and 60%, and the temperature dialed in is 15 degrees Celsius. I remember when I did my first drying, I was having around 23 to 24 degrees Celsius in the room and my relative humidity was probably on 40% or maybe lower. I thought this is the best to prevent any mold, but in reality I haven't expected that the plant is also able to hold higher relative humidity levels and also lower temperatures. I was just simply too afraid of it, because I thought mold can appear and that's why I should keep my temperature high and my relative humidity low. What I didn't know at that time is that this will destroy compound, aroma and many other stuff. So after I dedicated more time to investigate on the perfect drying method, I came up with my 15 degrees Celsius and my 55 to 60% humidity. If I'm dialing in these parameters, it will take me approximately 8 to 9 days till my flowers are ready, and then I will pack them into jars to cure them for another 3, 4 or even 6 weeks. Now we are ready with the part harvest. You might have seen there is a lot of light green in the middle of the plants, and that's why we put it back in the tent for another 1 or 2 weeks. We will monitor that, and if it's ripened enough, we will do the second part of the harvest. We are by the end of this episode. I hope you like what you have seen. If so, please leave a like and hit the subscribe button. It will help me. And I hope to see you very soon again on the channel for another episode of the Strain Growing Journey, the podcast Facts to Go, or the Grow of a Bro Show, or any other adventure you wanna follow me. Thank you very much for watching.